Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, then make predictions for next week's top 5. So let's get right on into it. Last week, I predicted the number 1 would be Bad Boys for Life, number 2 would be 1917, number 3 would be Dolittle, number 4 would be Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, and number 5 would be Jumanji The Next Level. And unfortunately, I only got 1 out of 5 of my predictions right for this weekend. Obviously, I was hoping for maybe like a 2 or a 3 of my predictions right this weekend, but I mean, sometimes this happens. And of course, the only one I got right was the most obvious one, which is Bad Boys for Life being number 1. However, this is really surprising to me, but it actually had the highest opening weekend ever for a Bad Boys film, which is quite extraordinary to think about, because this is a movie that is bringing back a franchise that ended like 17 years ago in 2003, around when Bad Boys 2 came out. I believe that's the year, but it still managed 17 years later to make the highest opening weekend. Like, that's insane to think about, but it made $59 million this weekend, and worldwide it is sitting at $97 million. I know some people are going to include the Martin Luther King Day estimates, but my videos are strictly the 3-day weekend, so I will not be talking about the 4-day reach. So right now it's only at 97 million worldwide. Domestically, it is 6 million off from outgrossing the first movie, and worldwide 44 million. And then the sequel, it's 79 million domestically off from outgrossing it, and then worldwide 176 million. But since it opened up this big, it had the highest opening weekend out of the entire trilogy, and worldwide they've already made 7 million over its $90 million initial production budget. Not only will it double that budget, but I think it will go on to outgross these movies for sure. I think it's going to hold over very well too, so this is honestly really great. Add in the fact that it's getting some really great reviews, especially from a guy like me who was not really expecting much going in and didn't really care for the other ones, but managed to be really surprised and thought it was a really decent movie. So I'm actually really happy for this movie's success. I don't know if this guarantees Bad Boys 4 or if they want to stick with this being the end of the trilogy. Either way, I'm just happy for this movie's success. Number 2 was actually Dolittle. You'll see that when 1917 comes up that the numbers are a little close together, so maybe when the official numbers come out they flip-flop, but honestly I'm really shocked that Dolittle kind of got up here, because I didn't know how many people would actually go see it, and the numbers aren't huge or anything, but I guess I just wasn't really expecting it to get number 2, especially since 1917 had a pretty strong opening. But either way, it made $22.5 million this weekend, and worldwide it is sitting at $49 million. Now when you look at the production budget of $175 million, this is not really looking all that good, and Dolittle doesn't seem like the kind of movie that's going to hold over very well either. Maybe it will, maybe it'll surprise us all, like The Greatest Showman or Jumanji, and it'll go on to make like $1 billion worldwide. I highly doubt it, but I'm just saying it could manage to surprise us and have a better long-running engagement with people than expected, but right now it's looking like a pretty big flop. It did make $9 million over the opening weekend of The Judge, which is another Robert Downey Jr. and his wife produced movie, and it is 25 million away from outgrossing that domestically and 27 million away from outgrossing it worldwide, so that's good for them. At least it's looking like Dolittle will probably outgross The Judge, which is fine, but the budget was considerably lower for The Judge as opposed to Dolittle, so at the end of the day, it's probably not too good for them. As far as Stephen Gaghan, the director, goes, it's his highest opening weekend. It outgrossed his movie Gold domestically and worldwide, and it's 28 million from outgrossing Syriana domestically and 43 million till it outgrosses it worldwide, so it probably potentially could do that as well, but it's still not going to be a huge money maker in the long run considering its box office budget. So oh well. Moving on to number 3, which is 1917, as I mentioned, very close behind Dolittle, making $22.1 million, adding to a domestic total of $76 million, and worldwide it is sitting at $138 million. So it's about $62 million off from doubling its $100 million budget, but I think considering all the awards buzz and also just all the people that have seen it and have talked it up a lot, I think it will definitely get there in no time soon, so that's really great for it. It's very, very good that they're coming out around the award season so they can get people engaged with the hype surrounding it with the Oscar nominations too. As far as director Sam Mendes, the next film it's going to need to outgross in his filmography domestically and worldwide is Road to Perdition. Domestically it's 28 million away from that, and worldwide it's 45 million away from outgrossing it. And I feel like it's definitely going to be outgrossing this film very soon. I think that's a really high possibility because there is such a big hype surrounding this film now because of its recent Oscar nominations. Number 4, we have Jumanji The Next Level, making $9 million, adding to a domestic total of $270 million. That's $134 million away from outgrossing Welcome to the Jungle domestically, and worldwide it is sitting at $683 million, which is $281 million away from outgrossing Welcome to the Jungle. So yeah, as it goes a little lower on the box office chart and its numbers start to decline, It's definitely looking like it won't be outgrossing Welcome to the Jungle anytime soon, but hey, the fact that it still made a ton of money and it's still a big success is really good for them, and we still are waiting for an official announcement for Jumanji 3. I feel like a broken record at this point, but there's really not much else to really say. This movie's doing really well. Let's move on to number 5, which is Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, making $8 million, adding to a domestic total of $492 million, so it's $8 million away from getting to $500 million domestically, which is great, but worldwide it has already made it to the $1 billion margin, sitting at $1.027 billion. Now, domestically, it is $40 million away from outgrossing Rogue One, and worldwide, it has just outgrossed The Phantom Menace just by a little bit, and it's $29 million off from outgrossing Rogue One there. So it's about to hit like top 3 highest grossing Star Wars movies, both domestically and worldwide, and that's just so wonderful for this film that isn't divisive and that everyone loves unanimously across the board. All right, moving on to number 6, which is Just Mercy, making $6 million, adding to a domestic total of $19 million, so it just made $2 million over The Glass Castle, which was the director's previous film, and worldwide it needs $2 million more to outgross The Glass Castle, and worldwide it is sitting at $20 million. It is still not close enough to doubling its $25 million budget. At least I think it's $25 million, because I got a comment saying that they read it in a Variety magazine or something like that, so I hope that's the actual budget, or else I'm going to look like a big idiot right now. But it really is not close to doubling that budget at all, and I thought this movie might get some awards buzz because it did expand in theaters on the same day as 1917. It kind of fits the criteria of what some people will look for in an Oscar contender movie, but it didn't get like a Best Supporting Actor nom for Jamie Foxx. It didn't get anything for like Michael B. Jordan or adapted or original screenplay, whichever one this was. It's like, man, that's what a big bummer. It didn't get any awards buzz, and now it's probably not going to make its money back because of that. Honestly, this is kind of disappointing because this was a really good movie that I think a lot of people should go out and try to see. Number 7, we have Little Women, making $5 million, adding to a domestic total of $84 million, and worldwide it is sitting at $117 million. So it's $3 million away from tripling its $40 million budget, which is awesome. Unlike Just Mercy, this movie is probably going to continue to do well because of its recent awards buzz because of the Oscar noms. Number 8, we have Knives Out, making $4 million, adding to a domestic total of $145 million, and worldwide it is sitting at $272 million. This movie also might have benefited just a little bit from its recent Oscar nomination for Best Original Screenplay, because I believe it was at number 9 last weekend, and it bumped up to number 8, which is honestly really great for the movie. Very impressive that it's still chugging along and making its money. Number 9, we have Like a Boss, which has dropped real drastically since last week, and it didn't open too high. It opened at like number 4 last weekend, but it has dropped a lot since then, making $3.8 million, adding to a domestic total of $16 million. It doesn't have a worldwide total as of right now, and it's still nowhere close to doubling its $29 million budget. I would feel bad, but this was a pretty shitty movie, so I don't really care. And finally, closing out the video, number 10, Frozen 2. It was looking like Underwater could have made it into the number 10 spot because I was looking at like the daily charts on Box Office Mojo, but then Frozen 2 overtook it, probably because they just re-released the sing-along version, which usually I don't think make a ton of money, but they're enough to get them at least a little higher than when they were, making $3.7 million, adding to a domestic total of $464 million, and worldwide it is sitting at $1.401 billion. Congrats to this movie that didn't get an Oscar nom for Best Animated Feature, but got one for the song. And I guess maybe that's why they re-released it, to hype up how great that song is, and so audiences could sing along to it. Oy vey. Now it's time for the fun part, the predictions for next week's top 5. Number 1, I'm going with Bad Boys for Life. Then number 2, The Gentleman. Then number 3, The Turning. Number 4, Dolittle. And number 5, 1917. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave them in the comments below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.